Welcome back to the Desert Survivalist Bunker. I'm Desert Survivalist 1, here with our sixth and final part of our modern U.S. military gear that you may want to consider for your preps. These last couple items will not be so modern. These are actually from some of the earlier days of Mole, but they're rather uncommon items that you may not have seen put out there in the mainstream, and which you may find useful for your gear. This is the r.a.c.k vest, Ranger Assault Carrying Kit, I believe is the terminology on that one. Might be wrong, but it's basically a chest rig type version. What you see will be what you're wearing on the front of your chest. It's completely covered in Mole. There were pouches that came with this system. The only one I've managed to find is this single frag grenade pouch. You'll notice this one's a little bit different than the standard Mole frag grenade pouch because it doesn't have the snap. It has instead a large thing of Velcro on it. I have seen standard grenade pouches marked as r.a.c.k pouches, but those were Woodland, so most of this desert gear will be marked with that tag there, if you can kind of read it. It's that Federal Covers and Textiles Incorporated made a bunch of this stuff. I don't know how widely used this gear was before they got rid of it and went to other stuff. This is kind of an iffy setup to me because there's not a whole lot of ventilation in it. It's a very just solid vest. Has kind of two chest rig type straps that go over your shoulders, and then Fast-X buckle goes around your waist, keeps it in place. It's very adjustable in size. On the back here, here's a better shot of that tag. You'll see it's got all these mesh compartments in it. This one kind of has a hole in the middle that you can get to it from the outside. These mesh compartments aren't really that great for carrying anything other than maybe papers or something or other, because they're right up against your body. This would be an iffy one, but these are available just by themselves. I think this one was like $10. They're very capable of filling in if you need a different sort of Mole system for your environment. This is one of the few things other than the fighting load carrier that was made in this DCU pattern before they discontinued it. I guess this is probably from 2003, 2004, somewhere in there, vintage. But that's a nice setup if you need it. This is another piece of gear I just found. It's very oddly shaped, which is why it's kind of laying. But this is the kind of the modern equivalent of the TLBV, Tactical Load Bearing Vest, from the early 90s. You'll see it's got very similar shoulder straps, and the very similar let's give you a better shot, the rope, kind of the paracord attachments of that TLBV. This one's marked US, it's not marked anywhere else, and it does have the loops for the pistol belt that go through it. And instead of having 6 pre-sewn on pouches like the Woodland TLBV, this one just has endless acres of Mole for your viewing pleasure, and then it has 2 internal Velcro map pockets as well. Those are, it's all mesh, so it is, sorry, trying to get that open. It's all mesh, so it is very breathable. These shoulder straps are huge. I think these are thicker than what's on the main rucksack. And you have some inserts for if you're putting Alice type gear on there, up there, and back here as well. This isn't one I've come across very much, and probably not one I would really use personally, just because it's an UCP and I don't really care for that camouflage pattern. But for my personal area, but it does have quite a bit of MOLLE. It has kind of that crossover between Alice and MOLLE that the early medic vests had. It is pretty adjustable, and you could, if you wanted to use this for your preps, I would say it's a solid piece of gear. It's not going to fall apart, and you can configure it pretty much however you want to configure it. But I don't know. I just don't really care for the UCP pattern, so that's why I'm not using it. But so these have been kind of some suggestions throughout this whole series of just stuff you may want to consider for your gear, for your your bug out equipment. Doesn't mean necessarily all of them are going to be right for you, but you can certainly Google some of this stuff, do further research, figure out all the measurements and what pouches are available to put on them. That's the wonderful thing about most of this stuff. It's all MOLLE, so you can configure it however you'd like. And just hope to share some ideas with you guys, and maybe tell me in the comments what some of your favorite MOLLE load-bearing gear is. I know I've left out some stuff like the sustainment pouch, medic pouches, r.a.c.k, and all that, but let me know some of your favorite gear, and make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for bearing with me through this series, and we'll come back at you with some more videos soon.